reached a bipartisan agreement to fund the government, keep it open, and meet the needs of the American people.
The government shutdown of 2024 December was the first test for the President Donald Trump, which influences the progress of the Republicans, which I'm going to show you on my screen right now to learn something about it.
We reached a bipartisan agreement to provide disaster assistance to everyday Americans whose lives have been upended and turned upside down as a result of hurricanes, tornadoes, wildfires, floods, and other types of extreme weather events. We reached a bipartisan agreement to meet the needs of the American people and provide assistance to farmers, families, children, seniors, veterans, men and women in uniform, and working class Americans. House Republicans have now unilaterally decided to break a bipartisan agreement that they made. House Republicans have been ordered to shut down the government and hurt everyday Americans all across this country. House Republicans will now own any harm that is visited upon the American people that results from a government shutdown or worse. An agreement is an agreement. It was bipartisan, and there is nothing more to say. Thank you.
What about the debt limit? Is that possible here, Mr. Jeffries?
What is Speaker?
That was the turmoil here in Washington. The House Speaker Mike Johnson's fight to avoid a government shutdown just hit a major snag as Donald Trump joined the conservative revolt against this funding bill. Our chief congressional correspondent, Manu Raju, is up on Capitol Hill, and CNN's Kristen Holmes has details on all of Trump's latest dramatic moves. Manu, we're awaiting an update, first of all, from the House Democratic leadership.
The government showdown of December. This is exactly what is happening. Yeah, it was a big ask for many congregational consecutives who have long demanded that the debt increase at least be accompanied by cuts to what they view as out of control government spending. And Democrats and more than a few Republicans rejected it. This is serious.
To the national debt limit. Remember, the debt limit is an incredibly complex negotiation that typically takes months and months to resolve. Trump wants this off the table now. He says, why deal with it now when Joe Biden is in office? Add it to what Congress is dealing with and get it off their plate. He's also criticizing deals that Johnson cut in order to get Democratic support. Remember, in order to get this bill across a narrowly divided House, he needs Democratic votes. So Democrats have their own demands. That's been all part of this complex negotiation that's been happening behind the scenes for weeks. But after Johnson, as well as the other congressional leaders, put this deal out on Wednesday night, it was roughly 1,500 pages. Many lawmakers revolted, particularly on the right, arguing they did not have time to review the plan. And people on the right were critical of Johnson's deal cutting. So where does this leave things now? Uncertain, Wolf. Democratic leaders have been huddling behind the scenes, trying to figure out their strategy on how to proceed, whether to fight this or whether to try to cut a deal with the president-elect or with Speaker Johnson. That's why this moment right now will be critical. And we hear from Hakeem Jeffries and his Democratic leadership team. How do they plan to proceed? And how does the Speaker of the House deal with this? On top of all of this, on January 3rd is the day that he needs to be reelected Speaker. He can afford very few defections in order to become the next Speaker of the House. And already at least one Republican member, Thomas Massie of Kentucky, told me that he will not vote for him come January 3rd, which is one big reason why, Wolf, that a lot of this is uncertain at this moment. How does Johnson navigate a position that Donald Trump has put him in against the wall?
The Democratic leader has to say, Kristen, you're with us as well. As you know, Trump has played an enormous role in all of this. What are you hearing? What's the latest on his part?
Yeah, and just really quickly to bounce off of what Manu was just saying, I mean, up until just a few hours ago, it seemed as though Speaker Johnson was in the clear when it came to President-elect Donald Trump. Donald Trump has had nothing but glowing things to say about
House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries making a very, very strong point. I want to bring in our analysts to assess what's going on because the stakes right now here in Washington are enormous. Alex Thompson, what's your understanding of this remarkable turnabout, a bipartisan agreement, Democrats and Republicans working together to keep the government operating, and all of a sudden it collapses?
Yeah, this could foreshadow how the next 2 years and 4 years could go under Donald Trump, because clearly it broke apart in part because of Donald Trump and Elon Musk. But I did find it really notable that Hakeem Jeffries did not mention Donald Trump. He clearly was not trying to say this is the part of the Donald Trump chaos or government. He blamed it all on House Republicans.
Brian Lanza, what do you think? Because the stakes, as I keep saying, are enormous right now. The government shuts down. A lot of Americans, millions of Americans, are going to suffer.
Certainly millions of Americans are going to suffer, but I think if you look at the standpoint for where President Trump is he feels that this CR is so loaded with so much pork, even more than enough pork to feed all of Iowa. That's a concern, and the debt ceiling is another concern. You know, President Trump's being strategic on how he wants the lame duck to sort of benefit his...
President Musk to come in at the last moment and blow up the deal is just intolerable.
We negotiated a bipartisan deal.
We have an agreement. There's no reason to renegotiate it.
We had a bipartisan deal negotiated, and they've completely gone and turned their backs on it.
House Republicans have been ordered to shut down the government.
I'm trying to shut down this government because let me tell you, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent, when you are traveling over these holidays, you may end up with some problems because TSA is federal government, because those that are doing air traffic control to make sure that we're safe, that's federal government.
It is just simply no excuse to say, I fear a primary, so I will do whatever Donald Trump and Elon Musk say.
What's your view of Elon Musk's role and leading the charge really against this?
He's starting early. He was tasked to lead Doge, and he's leading it.
I knew as soon as I saw the bill it was going to be trouble. The thing was as big as a Costco.
And it is 1,500 pages of pork barrel spending, and worse than that, it's all the woke garbage.
It's things like funding censorship for a global engagement center, $100 billion for disaster relief, which, by the way, any FEMA disaster relief, I think, should be a standalone bill. Why does the swamp want to keep the status quo? Another Christmas tree spending spree. And
"'Twas 5 days before Christmas and all through this house. Not a lawmaker was resting, not even their spouse. The CR was stalled, the debates full of heat, while a shutdown shadow loomed over our streets."
Citizens expressing how they feel under this comment section and how everybody is saying about it. And it was one he struggled to meet. The chaos of the last few days exposed some of the limits of his power and control of his party as he prepares to re-enter the White House, which is so sad. Which is so sad. I will continue to bring you more updates of what is going on in this world. Thank you everybody who is supporting Case Arena and all my returning viewers. God bless you. Thank you. Bye.